Hey everybody, welcome to the Mark Parham podcast. You can follow me online by typing in Mark Parham podcast, and I should be on Apple Podcast and then also on Spotify. So, I was just on X. Now it's it was Twitter. Now it's X, and I saw this sort of, it was like a quote by Charlie Kirk or something he said, where he was talking about basically, people should ask questions. And, whether you like Charlie Kirk or not, we should all be asking questions. And, just to see how, people that are, people who voted for Trump are just accepting, everything that Republican politicians tell them to do is insane. And, everyone will go up and say, oh, well, you know what, we're fans of Charlie Kirk and what he did, but no one is really paying attention to what he stood for. And he stood for people having open debates with each other. He stood for people having conversations. He stood for, people from the left and the right talking with each other and things like that. Like, if there's any takeaway that I could say about, about Charlie Kirk, is that he was someone who, regardless if you agree with him or not, he wanted people just to have open discussions and dialogue to, move America forward. And to see Republicans online act like, anyone questioning another Republican or Donald Trump or someone that they support is a bad thing is crazy. And, it's almost what we saw with the Democrats back in the days, where it's like anybody who raised the question about Obama was, thought of as a bad person. And it's so sad because a lot of people voted for the Republicans to get away from that type of behavior. And the Republicans are just as bad as the Democrats when it comes to that. Like, if you're an American citizen, it should be okay for you to ask questions about, what's going on in America. You should be able to question the politicians you vote for. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. And again, when you ask questions, a lot of times it's just like you might be asking a question that will affect someone else. You don't want to be an individual that believes everything an elected official tells you, because elected officials will say anything to get elected. They'll tell you that the sky is orange if people support an orange sky. Like, that's how elected officials are. And so, to see all these Trump supporters start believing, narratives by mainstream media companies, it's insane. And I'm really disappointed, because that's what we accuse folks of on the left of doing. People who were, such Barack Obama fans that, anybody that questioned Barack Obama about war, about the economy, they were looked down on. And with the Trump supporters, they're doing the same thing. They're sitting up, and anyone who says, well, you know what, I don't believe Donald Trump when it comes to why he wants to, do business with this leader, or why he's meeting with this person. Anyone who questions that online is like looked at as a bad person. And I don't think that's the attitude people should have, especially Trump supporters. Like, we should thank people like Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Dave Smith. We should be saying, thank you for asking those questions. Because, a lot of people in the mainstream media who are, people that work at Fox and all these other, companies and stuff, don't want to say, you know what, President Trump, you said this about the economy, but we looked at the numbers and this is what's going wrong, or that is going wrong, or tell us about what's going on with the war. It's just like, whenever you're in a society where you have to agree 100% with what the a leader or a president is doing, that isn't America anymore, in my opinion. And so, again, I support anybody who's asking questions about what's going on with our elected officials, what's going on with the Trump administration. Like, that's America, and Americans have the right to do that. And so it's just insane to me. Like, even when I go on X, Twitter, it's just like you have some folks where anything that Donald Trump puts out, they fall in line. Like Donald Trump could say, oh, well, Marjorie Taylor Greene, is doing this, or Marjorie Taylor Greene, doesn't support me, or Marjorie Taylor Greene is, not a good person because she said X, Y, and Z, and then folks just flip on a dime. Like these are the same folks that were all in Marjorie Taylor Greene's, events and talking to her and saying how she was a good person and a Trump supporter, and now all of a sudden, it's just like people are treating her like she's, a liberal Democrat or something. And so again, I support the Marjorie Taylor Greenes of the world. I mean, I think even what's her name, Lauren Boebert, I think from Colorado, I think she's waking up. Like these were some of the folks where, they were behind Donald Trump 100% of the time, and they do one thing, and then all of a sudden, people can't ask questions, and it's just backward to me. And if that's going to be the case, then Democrats are going to get in power again. If the case is, if we can't question people we support and contribute to, that's not something that MAGA supporters believe in. I thought. I mean, that's a lot of behavior that we see on, the liberal side of things. And so again, I'm just very shocked to see that so many of these Trump supporters are, they want to get on folks like Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson and Dave Smith for just, bringing up something they don't agree with. That's I don't know. It's a twilight zone. And so it goes to show you that, the more you look at it, even though a lot of Republicans always talk about the deep state and, we're going to drain the swamp and we're going to come in there and clean things up, they get into power and basically start acting like the Democrats that they tell us not to vote for. So in the comment section, just let me know how you feel about, Charlie Kirk, and how do you feel about just the media and, people that actually want to ask questions about the Trump administration. Like, let me know how you feel. Thank you.